This video is a bit of a tangential video. It involves a lawsuit that I filed where there were two portions that probably are really not related to each other, but I put them together. One was involving taxes that the state of Virginia claimed that I owed, and then the other one involved a W-2 form from the University of Virginia. So on the one hand, probably around 2011, Virginia gave me about a $770 refund, and then it turned around shortly after that and asked for it back, and we went back and forth for 4 years, them demanding the money. I said, I never cashed the checks. The money is in your account, so don't stop bothering me. So between the GPO job and the USDA job in summer let's see, summer of 2014, I had been given a firm job offer to be the help desk person for the Secretary of the Interior in D.C. right to her desk, right there with the Secret Service. I actually went and met those guys during the final interview. Then they wanted a 10-year background check, and Virginia had sent me a letter saying, you may have been, legal action may have been taken against you. Well, has it or has it not? You can't threaten me and tell me that just to cow me into giving you money and pay taxes twice. I don't put up with that crap. And it's really unbelievable. When here it is, a state that has its home to Thomas Jefferson, Madison, Mason, Washington, Richard Henry Lee, Patrick Henry, and has a flag that says Sex Semper Tyrannis with the man with the foot on the chest of the tyrant. And now you're the tyrant. You're really unbelievable. So I filed a lawsuit, and Erin McNeill got in the middle of it. She's a deputy or a low assistant attorney or something for the state of Virginia under Mark Herring, an entire office as crooked as the day is long. And they refused to reconcile this, because I dealt with the state multiple times trying to work this out with a guy named Chung. I can't think of his name, C-H-U-N-G. His first name eludes me at the moment. And then his boss. They refuse because they're arrogant. And I actually sent out a subpoena on this case for the actual trial that occurred in December 29th of 2014. But prior to that, I moved for summary judgment. I don't owe you the money. Here are the checks. They've already been paid. I mean, they've never been cashed. I don't owe you anything. Now, that's half of it. The other half of the summary judgment was that in 2013, when my wife was fired from University of Virginia in retaliation for her complaining about the harassment and the contract fraud and grant fraud and everything there, Columbus Day 2013, we went to the President's office at Madison Hall in Charlottesville and gave them our address. And so January 31st, they should have sent the W-2 forms of 2014 for 2013's year, but they didn't. And so March, mail was sent over to the HR department for it, and they refused. Give us a Social Security number. That's a load of crap. They were supposed to send it out. There's no conditions about this stuff. It was supposed to be mailed. They had the address. There's just no conditions about this kind of thing. So come down to July, and I made 2 phone calls to the President's office during that month of 2014, to the President's office, and they knew what the address was, and they refused to send it out. So I filed a lawsuit, and that's where the other half comes in. So September 22nd, I moved for summary judgment, and the judges in Stafford County are just plain stupid. They don't pay attention to the facts. They don't pay attention to the statutes. The federal statute says December 31st. There's no conditions, no negotiations, no nothing about it. And the state law says it follows the feds. I had those papers in hand, handed to the judge. He says, oh, well, let's give your Social Security number. It's like, I went outside that courtroom after the fact, and there's Erin McNeill, and I said, why are you holding my wife's W-2 forms hostage? Now, to back up just a little bit, we're in September here. Going back to the Smithsonian case, where I was fired and had that health condition. So now that I lost my job, I tried to go to Mary Washington Hospital for the free clinic to get treatment for my abdominal problem. And they said, we need to see your tax returns for the previous year. So I've got to have this. And UVA is refusing to give them. So then, now back here on the 22nd, and I asked them, How much would it cost for me to walk right through the emergency room right here to Mary Washington Hospital in Fredericksburg, Virginia? $500. So I sued for damages of $500 in addition to getting judgment for turn over the W-2 forms. Now just ask yourself, just for a second, stop right here. What seems to be the problem that UVA is not going to give somebody, a postdoctorate fellow, their W-2 forms? What is the problem? Why would you do this? Well, it's just further retaliation because of the complaints against them for grant fraud and contract fraud and abuse, making my wife's hair fall out, covering it up. All the stuff that's in that other video. It's too much to talk about. It's an hour-long video. You can see it on YouTube. It's there. The UVA video. All under the channel of Fired Without Cause. So then, outside the courtroom, there's Erin McNeill, and I said, why are you holding the W-2s hostages? She said, maybe we can make a deal. She is representing the state of Virginia. She is representing the University of Virginia. And she wants to extort me because the next sentence I said, oh, so you mean if I drop the damages, the $500 of damages, then you'll give me the W-2 forms for my wife so we can jointly file? She said yes. I later brought this up because we filed a lawsuit in October of that year against UVA, a $4 million lawsuit, which I explained in the other video. And later in 2015, when we had a hearing in Albemarle County, in March of 2015, Erin McNeill tried to have me monetarily penalized for bringing this up, for what happened in Stafford, for calling her an extortionist. The judge refused, but she actually did this. I have filed a Virginia bar complaint, and the Virginia bar says it's a tactic. So trying to extort somebody on behalf of the University of Virginia is just a tactic, a defense tactic. That shows you what the Commonwealth of Virginia is like. That's how crooked it is under Mark Herring. So I then wrote a letter to the same prosecutor that prosecuted Bob McDonnell, the U.S. attorney. And magically around October 9th or 10th of 2014, the W-2 forms show up with no letter, no nothing. No names, no nothing, just the forms itself. And then the defense switched its defense to sovereign immunity. Well, they did so because they intentionally had not put any letters with anybody's name on it. So then nobody could be blamed, because sovereign immunity does not apply to when people are specifically held for specific acts within the government. But if you don't put any name, then you can just say sovereign immunity. And of course then the court helped out. The district court engaged in illegal acts by refusing to issue the subpoena that I sent out for Mr. Chung to show up on the 29th for the case, meaning the tax part of it. And so, of course, Charles Foley was in there again, and he just said, he ruled for the defense and everything, and said that I still owe the taxes. And it's like, okay, this is ridiculous. So I had to take the case the following year to circuit. And finally, they took the $770 that was already in the account and applied it to my account. And then they did what they should have done 4 years before, but they already damaged my reputation. I got no damages for them screwing me up from losing a job for working Secretary of Interior, because you can't do a background check when you have the state threatening you with these kinds of things. And so I received no damages for loss of work for that month. With that, nothing. They went in there and made false accusations, and then they corrected after the fact, and then they say sovereign immunity, and they say that they're untouchable. So Erin McNeill extorts me, and then she tries to penalize me in another court for this, and she gets no bar complaints against her, and she still keeps her job. Go look her up on LinkedIn. She used to work at Disney for a number of years, apparently, down in Disney World. Look her up. Supposed to have been some sort of constitutional person when she was over at William and Mary, according to her LinkedIn profile. Really? Well, if you know federal law, then you would know that you can't miss the December 31 date, and you cannot extort me saying that drop the damages to give me the W-2 forms. You're just a crook. You should have been disbarred a long time ago. So you think you can use any tactic, whatever you want, and do this to me? And it's very funny to me how that there was a guy that showed up at the, what was it, the summary judgment. And you all trying to lay, when you all, no, there was a hearing after that. There was some guy that showed up with you at one of those hearings before the actual case itself, and then suddenly the next time that the case is heard in that process for this taxes, that guy is not even working for the state of Virginia anymore. Now, what I think happened is that he got cold feet about you all's ethical problems there and said, I can't take this crap, and I'm going to find work somewhere else. I don't have any proof of that, but I bet $1 that guy, if I could get him to speak out, he would say that. I'll bet $1 what happened. That's how crooked you people are. Just say, oh, well, he just went down the road. Yeah, that's like just saying, oh, that was just negotiation tactics where you're trying to extort me for W-2 forms. 10 months. October. This is what we have to deal with the state of Virginia. This is how corrupt they are. And it's time for people to be fired. It's time for Erin McNeill to be fired because her involvement, also her signature on the other document concerning Mark Bowman. That's 3 times now. It's time for her to be disbarred and find another line of work. And quite a few people need to be disbarred. And I'm going to keep on pushing this. So anyway, that's the tax issues, and it's a bit offbeat from the other things, but it just goes to show I spend my time in court because of the corruption and the evil doings, and it's like this country's totally out of whack. People have got to straighten up. And again, like I say in another video, it's not about the presidential elections, it's the individuals, these individual actions, and this has got to stop.